What is good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the 14th episode of the Mountains of Madness podcast. As always, I am your titular host, Darren. It's because I'm the mountain in the, Joining me today, we have Ben.
Hello.
Carl.
Hello.
Cathal.
Hello.
Killian.
Hello.
Shikozi.
Do you know the way?
Do you know the way? Evan.
Hello.
And Gary.
Greetings.
Did I get everybody? Because I feel like that's the longest list I've had to read out on this podcast.
What about Craig?
That was a pretty
The
long
only
list.
people I'm missing is like Logue and maybe Tim.
No one important.
Tim has never been on this podcast, so
There you go. Neither has Logue.
Logue bought a microphone.
And a stand.
He's
And a
been on
fucking-
like one episode.
And a processing unit. What else did he buy? He bought
Yes.
Oh
He
my
bought a
God.
processing unit. He couldn't buy like anything in
He
some
bought-
combination.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Wait, has he built his PC yet?
No, because
What?
he doesn't have time, he says.
Oh,
Oh,
first
money.
He's working
So-
night shifts.
Yeah.
Wait, so when he
What
took
is-
the mic home, did he try plugging it into the PS4?
No.
He took out the hard drive of his PS4 and put in a 1080 Ti thinking that would work.
Not even.
He just kind of like just mashed it.
Yeah. Jacosi, this is
jam it in there.
This is nice. We're spending like the first 5 minutes just Logue bashing.
He doesn't listen to the podcast.
all contribute.
Never
Well,
know.
that makes it fine.
Behind the back comments are the only comments that are acceptable, I find.
Well, technically, I suppose it's not behind his back because we're literally throwing it out into the public domain.
Yes, we
Yeah.
are.
It's
We're
more
only
like
50
in
people.
front of his back, I guess.
Yeah,
He also has access to recording before the general public do as well.
turn around so I can stab you in the front.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
So how's everybody doing?
Pretty good.
Not too bad. You?
Good.
I'm a bit poorly today.
That's very enthusiastic coming from you, Cathal.
I'm doing great, guys.
Because you
What
made it,
games have
Jacosi.
people been playing recently? Anything new and exciting?
The only new one that I have been playing is a game called Enter the Gungeon.
Great game.
It's all right.
I've been playing Risk of Rain. Well, I had been playing Risk of Rain, and then my mate kind of like put me onto the game Enter the Gungeon, and I was just like, this is fabulous. It's like Binding of Isaac, but with like guns. You know, like can't go wrong with that. You know.
I'll bind you to my bullets.
I would recommend. Oh, what's the other one that came out around the same time? Nuclear Throne over Enter the Gungeon. Very similar style of game, but I just think it was a little bit better put together.
Like
Okay.
mechanically, or
Yeah, like mechanically, just the way the characters and the weapons work. It felt like it was a lot more coherent, whereas Enter the Gungeon was just like, they had their basic set of guns, and then all the upgrades are just like, oh, +1 to this number, +1 to that number. Whereas Nuclear Throne is like
+1 gun.
interesting strategies to things, and the different weapons really change the way that you play the game.
I do like the way Enter the Gungeon just has like random ass guns, right? Like there's one called Bullet, right? And it's a bullet that fires guns. Great. and the guns fire little bullets.
oh, that is fantastic.
And there's another one. It's like the letter R, right? And like you literally just hold the letter R, and then when you shoot, it literally fires bullets, but like the words BULLET. It's fabulous.
What's this on?
It's on PC. I don't know if it's on PlayStation as well.
And is
Well,
it
I
a
have
side
access to
scroller
PC.
kind of?
It's kind of like top down bullet
like
hell,
a
whatever it's
twin-stick
called,
shooter.
Bloodstorm. Yeah,
Twin stick shooter. Okay, I get you. Because you mentioned Risk of Rain, which is a side-scrolling kind of thing, which is also a phenomenal game.
it
if you
is.
get
great
into it.
game.
It is.
It's one of those things that like it's shit for a while, and then when you start to figure things out and you can like get far in it, it is madness. We used to
Once
play
you start like unlocking characters and stuff like that, and once you realize what the power ups are, because at the start you're like, oh my god, I have no fucking clue what to choose and what goes well with who. And then when you realize, oh, okay, so I'm gonna pick the soldier, I'm gonna get like +20 fucking fire rate. I'm gonna get like all these other stuff. You're like, well, this is great.
Yeah.
I've just
And then
been
when
looking.
you
You can get it
eventually
on every console.
Sorry.
It's available on every console: PS4, Switch, Xbox.
Enter the Gungeon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That'd be a
I'll
good
get it.
Switch game, actually. Then,
I'll get it.
Oh, yeah.
because I
I'll get
wouldn't,
it on
I wouldn't
PS4.
play something like that on PS4 or PC. If I can play it on a fucking bus, hell yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that's
become like my new way of measuring things. Is
what
like,
game can I take mobile?
yeah, it's like my benchmark now. It's like, oh, I don't really like this game, but I like it enough to play it on the bus. Or I don't really want to play this game, but I'd play it on the bus.
It's like when, people don't want to watch TV they have to pay attention to. They just want to sit back and not have to pay attention to TV. Like shit TV shows.
Yeah, like the
Filler TV shows.
Yeah, Big Bang Theory, 2.5
Yeah.
Men, How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah, like
Um,
easy to
those
watch
episodes.
stuff after you don't want to mentally
Think.
exert yourself after a day's work, essentially.
Evan, you haven't been around in a while on this podcast, so I'm sure you being you have played like 28, 29 games in the last like month.
Hey.
Yeah, so I think what I was playing most recently, I might have mentioned this to you IRL, Darren, is Heroes of Might and Magic 3.
There is
back
no
Yes, I love that game.
to revisit an old game, because I hadn't really played it that much before, and it holds up surprisingly
beast.
well. It's very good. It could use some small quality of life improvements, like being able to use the scroll wheel on certain menus would be a big boon. You can't do that. But outside of that, it's solid game.
When did that come out as well? That's.
Oh,
I
That was
prefer
like
the second one
mid-
personally. The
90s.
second one's good.
Oh, Carl fucking gaming hipster always.
Well, no, I've got the special edition of the fifth one, and it came bundled with the second one as well. I think it's a lot because even the developers acknowledged that was one of the best ones as well. I think I remember playing that on my PC as well back in the day.
Yeah, my dad just got
Yeah.
7. Is it 6 or 7? One of those.
I don't know, but your dad got the copy that I got of it, didn't he? Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
Special
did
edition.
he pay you for that? 4 was good as well.
Yeah, he paid me
The
for
yellow
it.
cover. Yeah, 4 was really good. For the
So
yellow
are
cover.
do they continue after each other? Is it like a story, or are they all just like, is it like Final Fantasy, which is just there's a sequential numbering system, but they're entirely different stories?
No one really cares about the story, do they?
I have no
It's
idea what the
just,
story is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know what the story is, and I played it like a week ago.
So wait, so what do
I
you?
think they're
what do you do?
self-enclosed.
It's kind of like a combination of a resource management game, and then you have heroes that you move around the map, and you capture various points to get resources that you use to build more units. And then when your hero collides with an enemy hero, it goes into like a kind of SRPG, TRPG kind of thing, where you take turns to move units around the grid and attack each other and stuff. That's pretty much it. Like,
When you're out in the world, you have like limited moves that you can extend based on different perks. So your hero that's out there who leaves the castle, takes on some troops or whatever from the base, you'll go out in the world, but you've got a set movement range. So you have to plan your move, whether you go too far from your castle, too far from a mine, or attack a certain troop type, and you might not be able to get back after you've had that epic fight, and someone else might be in your region. So you've got to plan those movements quite well.
So is
Sounds
it?
a bit like RTS.
Yeah, is it a turn-based game?
Turn-based, yeah.
Does it look more like a Total War map where you have a bigger guy standing on the map, or do you move it around like in a Final Fantasy game where you move your
it's
character?
a little bit like Total War in that you've got an overworld map where you go around like capturing points and objectives and stuff, and then you've got your battle or combat map.
Thing where you go further down onto the actual battlefield.
Yeah, and like coordinate fights and stuff.
I get you. Yeah.
But I'd really like to play some multiplayer at it for some point. I don't know like what the online play or whatever is like, but it seems like the kind of game
It's good.
I could definitely get into playing some multiplayer of.
Yeah, it's good because obviously the turn-based element still stands. So you'll finish your turn and then sit and wait 5 minutes for me to finish my turn, and then vice versa. And then, or if you've got like 6 of you in, because you can have bots in there as well, so you can load in like 4 other bots, and then you sit and wait for their turns to go. But you can see them on the map if you've uncovered that shroud on the map.
Yeah, there's actually
I'd be
another
up for
Fog of
that.
War, which is interesting. Once you've uncovered an area, you can always see what's happening in that area, which is something that's not very common.
Instead of needing to maintain a presence there.
Yeah.
Well, to an extent, and I don't know whether this was in the later games, it uncovers the map, but then you also have a field of view as well, where you can see the detail, such as other players. So I don't know whether this had changed from 3 to 4 or from 2 to 3 or whatever.
Yeah,
But I remember there was one where
there was no shroud once you uncovered something. There was no fog of war. It was just like you can see everything once you've been there once.
Yeah, so I think it must have been 4. They reintroduced that, like I said, that fog of war, where although you could see the map and there's a mine and there's an NPC group of characters or an enemy monster, whatever, you couldn't see if there was another player in there unless you were close enough. I think they reintroduced that from 4.
Like,
Yeah.
I suppose, realistically speaking, a fog of war makes sense because if you are, the commander of a particular faction somewhere in medieval times, you're going to know the lay of the land, but you're not going to know what's happening there immediately.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So it's a
but
good,
like
it's a good one.
realism does not a good.
I know.
game
Yeah. No.
make,
It makes sense to take it away if that's. what
it
you
works
want to
as a
do with your
gameplay
game.
methanic as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I'll be up
suppose
for that,
probably
then.
makes more sense in multiplayer where you're planning ambushes and shit where you don't want the other player to see stuff.
Yeah.
What did you get it on? What did you buy it on?
It's on PC.
PC. I might stick it on this brand new gaming PC that was dumped at my house and then see how it runs. See if I can get
Some
120 FPS
So
going.
it's pretty
Yeah, put your dick back in
against
the
it, like.
I haven't even turned it on since it's been here. It's fucking awful.
You were bragging so much about getting this new gaming PC for free
Yeah.
or whatever and all this shit and sending us pictures of it, and you haven't
Yeah.
turned it on.
It's not even plugged in. Let alone.
Jesus
I'm looking at.
Christ.
I'm standing. I'm sitting next to it, and I've got my
You
phone on
disgust
top
me.
of it, and a book leaning up against the side of it, and I've got the monitor in front of me, and they're not even connected. The monitor's plugged in, I think. Oh no, it's not. There's a plug.
So you're using it as like a book stand.
Yes.
You
Yes,
disgust me.
I am.
Says the man that used his PC fans to cool his room.
It was hot, okay.
What do you
It
use
is
to cool your
actually
room? Just a
very,
fucking
very
like
funny.
grand and a half piece of fucking equipment, like.
The PC has a
Just
lot
buy
of
a fan.
fans.
Fans are like 10 quid. Just go
Yeah,
buy
but
a fan.
I'd have to like
The
leave my
whole-
room.
No, he
That
took
doesn't
off the
sound like
fucking
too
side
bad.
of the case.
Gotta get that airflow, you know what I'm saying?
Just a quick update from me, and I think Koji as well. Both of us have finished our second playthrough
Yeah,
of
boy.
Nier Automata, or Automata. I've seen people call it, which just sounds weird to me.
wrong. Disgusting.
Automator.
But yeah, I remember reading about this game before I played it, and people were saying, "Oh, it's a good game, but it gets really good when you're on your third playthrough." And I was like, "That's so Japanese sounding." It's just like 26 endings. Like, oh, the game really opens up once you finished it twice. But holy shit, this game gets really good when you finish it twice.
Do you know what it's like, right? I finished my first playthrough and I was like fucking preaching it to all the guys. I'm like, guys, this is a great game. You should get the game. You should get the game. And then I finished my second playthrough. I'm like, holy shit. I've undersold this game.
Mm-hmm.
Completely undersold it.
You
It's
really have,
so
yeah.
much better than I ever expected it to be.
It's like the second playthrough takes certain elements and like explores them a little bit more, and you get kind of a different perspective on things, and you
Yeah.
learn a little bit more and a couple of extra cutscenes and stuff.
Yeah.
But then it takes a significant like left turn towards the end of the second playthrough, and then the third one just literally just takes the game and like especially the story concepts and just literally just turns it on its fucking head. And there's actual
Yeah.
parts where I was concerned. I was playing this game going, "Oh shit. Well, what's the fallout of this particular event going to be? I'm worried about the characters now. This is awful. Holy fuck!" And I
Yeah.
was like,
And
"What's
it's like-
wrong with me? I'm playing this game and I'm having a good time, but I also just feel really awful because it's actually
Yeah.
emotionally impacting me at the moment. I feel like a sense of, like this, desperation. I
Impending
guess.
doom.
Yeah, impending doom.
Tension,
It's
nearly.
fucking fantastic game so far. I haven't finished the third
Um,
playthrough, but I'm hoping to power through
to-
it soon.
To ask a question, guys. Obviously, second, third playthrough, whatever. That's like new game plus type thing, right?
No.
No,
No.
as in, are you going back to the start of the story, or do you just continue the story? How do you categorize a
I think
playthrough?
that's
Is what
a
I
spoiler.
mean,
Tom.
or can that
Yeah,
not be explained?
That's a spoiler. Like to kind of go through it would kind of spoil it a little bit.
So
So
Oh,
we-
okay.
basically,
we don't-
is you see the end credits. It goes back to title, and it says, "Thanks." Literally, a message comes up saying, "Thanks for playing our game. Everyone here at Square Enix appreciates you. The game really comes alive on subsequent playthroughs. We'd appreciate it if you checked it out or something." And you go back into your save and you launch your save again, and that's all I'm saying.
And how long?
Okay.
How long was each playthrough?
I've done the first one. I did the first one in 22 hours, but I'm convinced a lot of that was me just leaving it paused.
Yeah.
I'd say maybe 15 to
No, it's
18.
not very much at all.
Yeah.
18,
So-
18 if you do the side quests. The second playthrough then took me about 8 hours.
Yeah. It's much quicker.
You're still looking at a 30-hour game.
Well,
Three playthroughs.
if you do all 3 playthroughs, I'd say reasonably, about 30 to 35.
It's good.
Yeah, but you really want to get like all 26 endings.
So there is 26 endings, like they're alphabetical, but like there's some of them, and it's just such a funny game, right? It's like, go do this thing, and you can just turn and walk the opposite direction, and it just comes up going, such and such character left and was never seen again, and then the credits come up, but they go like super fast. They like whiz by the credits, and it goes to the title screen. It's so funny, like it's very, very well done.
There was a bit like that in, I think, it was the Super Mario RPG, or one of the Mario RPGs, where a character asks you about halfway through the game, like, do you really want to do this? Do you really want to save the kingdom or whatever? You could just go home. And if you answer that you don't want to do it, the game just ends there and then. And like, the last save point was like 20 minutes ago or something.
Really?
There's also, what is it? You know the Far Cry where you land on the island and help like the rebellion and stuff. There's a bit at the start where the dictator's like, hey, you wait here and I'm gonna go get a load of weapons and come back and kill all the rebellion. And if you wait there and he comes back, he's like, oh yeah, you're cool. And then the credits just roll and it shows you being like his mate.
Nice.
There was also Cave Story had a secret hidden room where this guy you're looking for the whole game, you can actually find him early if you do some secret stuff. And he's like, I found a way out of this place that we're trapped in. And by then you're all embroiled in the story that's going on and you're trying to help out the locals and all that stuff. But he asks if you want to just leave, and you can say yeah. And then the two of you just fly off and the credits roll, and it's like everyone on the island was full.
I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah.
It's just clever. It's like the developers are just playing with you a little bit and having fun, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and the last one that I can think of was Fury. Has anyone played it? Came out last year. Really good hack and slash, or character action game, I suppose.
No,
Yes,
but I
yes,
can picture
that's
the
very
cover
good.
in my head.
Yeah,
It's
that's
really
what I had, I
colourful,
think,
isn't it?
2 times during the game that you could, choose to not continue on any further. But it was really well integrated, like into the plot. It actually made sense. The reasons that you would stop. Yeah.
The story and soundtrack is really good in that as well.
Actually, speaking of like developers kind of having fun with the players and kind of engaging with them, I think Cathal had a topic that he wanted to bring up today.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at a video recently just about what a YouTuber I watched wanted Psyonix to do with Rocket League. And he mentioned that he wanted them to incorporate some of the big YouTubers in, maybe, like get in touch with them. He was willing to help them out. But it got me thinking, like, how much or how little do you think developers should be in touch with their community, and like what's a good level of communication for them? Because you have like Bungie, who for Destiny, they're great at trying to communicate, but they also don't seem to listen.
They're great at trying to communicate.
They communicate.
They're not great at communicating, but they're great at giving it a good old try.
They are absolutely god awful. If you go on their subreddit and look at their attempts at communication, it's pathetic.
Just like,
Political time
we
bind.
hear
isn't it?
your complaints and acknowledge that they are indeed
Yeah, no,
complaints.
they're like, we're listening. That's their big one. We're listening.
Yeah,
We
but
are listening.
they're still better than Riot, who are like, fuck off, this is our game. I don't care
Yeah.
if you think the whole game is broken.
Ryan don't care.
They literally
Who are Riot? What have they made?
League
of Legends.
League of Legends.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
They're like, I'm sorry, I can't hear you over the sound of all of this money we're making.
yeah, essentially.
Yeah, although it wasn't always like that. Like, totally fucked up the LCS at the start. But anyway, a different story.
So I guess when we're talking about developers engaging with communities, I think the first one that will come to most people's minds is like games as a service, something that's an online community that's constantly developing and tweaking and having additions made to the game and stuff like that. But then you see things like developers like CD Projekt Red who are just like, thanks for buying The Witcher. We actually don't even care if you pirated it. We just want you to play the game and enjoy it. Here are 17 free DLC packs. Which is just a little thing, a little something. Like, they made a fantastic game that was like very technically sound, no game-breaking bugs or anything. Then just throw free stuff at us and then say that we can pirate it and they don't really care. Like, I think even that is enough to make me a fan of CD Projekt Red. Like, I want to give those guys my money just because they are so drastically different from a lot of the shit that we put up with as gamers these days,
Yeah,
I will
does
give
seem
them
to
money every game, no matter what.
Yeah, and
Full
like
price.
it does seem to be the major difference as well. The fact that it's like, these guys are just different to most of the game developers we have in the sense that, they're good. They give us free stuff. They want us to play the game. Hell, they don't even care if we pirate the game. Just like
That's how they
so.
started. They
Yeah.
wanted the attitude of people to play all these other games. So they were doing not remakes, but they were recoding it so other people could play it and translating games so they could be played by other people. So they, from the beginning, they've only ever wanted people to play games and have access to games. Because they run CG Project Blue, don't they, which have good old games. So
I guess it's similar to, the way people would compare games to artwork nowadays. That some people just want people to see their artwork. Some people just want other people to read their books. So
yeah.
it gives gaming more legitimacy.
But
Are we excited for Cyberpunk, by the way?
Yes.
Yeah. They've got this massive,
Nothing about
secretive, surprising marketing campaign that's on its way over the next 9 months. And it's going to be fantastic. There's also voice casting that's been done for it as well, that I've seen.
Like who, for example?
Like background voice talent throughout the world. So they are still recording dialogue.
People would update their online portfolios saying did work for such and such game, and people were like, I didn't even know that game existed yet, but this fucker's just after going, I did work on this game.
Okay.
I think there was some game that was kind of half leaked recently that someone updated it saying they worked on GTA 6 or something.
Yeah, I saw that, which is bollocks. You're not
portfolio.
allowed to do that.
Yeah,
When you do something like this, you sign a non-disclosure agreement, and then you have a timed release on when you're allowed to announce the fact that you worked on it. All you can say is that you worked for a particular developer.
you're just trying to get a bit of clout,
Yeah, big time.
We get back to games as services and community management.
Yeah, I think for multiplayer games and games that you want to have a long life for and are going to have constant patches pushed in, it's really important to listen to your community about what's not working and is working in the game. Like games like Overwatch or Rocket League or PUBG even.
Warframe.
What's Warframe?
Okay, so I'm just gonna pop in
Some
here.
free
Right?
demo.
The Warframe developers, they are fabulous for it because there's constantly updates being pushed out. Someone's going, Jesus, God damn it, he's gone off again.
Coffee break.
But they constantly push out updates, right? They even have a community design council who basically make submissions that go into the game as well. So it's not just all these boys around some fucking conference table being like, we should put this.
Didn't they employ a load of fans?
They did, yeah.
So they actively seek to employ the community as well, which is pretty cool. If they've got the skills.
All three of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Chikozi's like, I'm the only one who hasn't got a job.
I'm joking. Actually, I've heard very good things about Warframe, and not just from Chikozi.
Yeah,
It's like the new
free-to-play
Division
game. It's meant to be pretty damn good.
It is pretty damn good.
The only reason I'm not playing it is because it's time. I mean, I'm loving GTA 5 with the new crew, loving the Division with 1.8. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I loved Warframe, and I love the fact that it morphed into this thing after how many years when it first came out? It's a good few years now.
It's 4 or 5.
Yeah, like pre-Destiny, wasn't it?
Yep, pre-Destiny, and it's so completely it's completely different to what it was when it came out. It was a bunch of lads in shiny metal suits running around spaceships, just doing shit.
I just look at it. in my head, I think it's Power Rangers mixed with Ninja and Raiden from Metal Gear Solid. And they're like just jumping around hitting lads. That's all I think in my head.
Pretty much. But like,
Yeah,
imagine there
kinda.
was like 40, like there's 40 different Power Rangers and they all had different powers.
Space Ninja Power Ranger Hunters
Like the Guyver.
bounty hunting.
Like,
Yeah, Guyver, Beetleborgs.
And one guy just said, "What about Warframe instead?" I was like, "All right, fine."
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Where did it all start? The community management. What was the first big game to think? Right, we need an active role in the community to make this game better. Who was the
I
first?
want to go with Ultima Online. I mean, way back before there was even a word for it. I was one of the really early MMOs, and they had forums where they would be quite active on the developers and listening to feedback from the community and rebalancing the game around that. But it kind of backfired from them because they didn't really have any prior examples to work off. So what they were going off was the people that were the most active and vocal on the forums. But the thing about them was they were, the top like 1% of players who played all the time and had the best gear and knew all the best strats. And they were constantly complaining, oh, it needs to be more difficult. The quests need to be longer. The bosses need to have more health to require more people to take down. And they'd listen to them every time. And it got to the point where like a lot of the high level raids, you needed 40 people to be online for 12 hours at a time to beat them. And it just drove away like a lot of the kind of lower level or more casual players. So I think that was a lesson the industry as a whole learned moving forward, is trying to balance your game.
Or did they, Evan? Or did they?
I think if anything,
And what game was that?
I think it was Ultima Online. But I think if anything,
I think it
we
was
went
Ultima.
too far the other way with a lot of games these days. Like if you look at, I think Overwatch is a prime example. There are certain classes that are just like W plus M1, and that's all you need to do, and they can play at just as high a level as classes that take a lot of skill and game sense to play, which is a bit frustrating if you're trying to play a game at a higher level and then some scrub is just like running around as Winston holding down the click button and you're dead.
That'd be me.
Winston is a very skillful hero.
I think Winston might be a bad example. The one I always think of is Mercy versus Anna.
Yeah.
Anna
100%.
should have a better healing ability than Mercy because you have to shoot bullets with aim as opposed to holding down a button and it clipping onto someone and sticking with them. Like, I just feel like you should reward the skill of the player with better powers. I don't care if it means that Mercy isn't played at the top level because good players play Anna. That's fine by me, because that's how it should be. Like, you should have high skill cap and low skill cap so that people can enjoy the game at any level. Not everyone should be played on every fucking rank, But that's just me.
Do we think YouTube has had an influence in how much the community is listened to here, and at what degree it's listened to? Like on Reddit, for example, the Destiny subreddit, the highest I've ever seen the active users on that page is about 20,000 at any one point, and that was in the lead up to the Destiny 2 and then following the reveal. But 20,000 players in a pool of what was potentially millions, or was millions. It's a very small voice.
Yeah, but not everyone goes on Reddit, and the problem with Bungie as well. I'm just gonna sort of like take them down a peg because they've done weird in lately. They don't have the confidence that they had when there was the Halo 3 developers. Now it's just like, oh yeah, we're sorry that we're fucked on this. We'll do better next time. All this we're listening shit. With Halo 3, they didn't need to. You didn't have any of all this like communication between the developers. They got on with it and they made everything fucking great. There was like,
but they made a road for their own back.
Yeah, like Halo 3. There was like one decent update after that they needed to patch. That was it. Like a few tweaks here and there that you never really saw, but no one bitched about it on the forums.
Yeah,
everything was just a developer that knew what the fuck they were doing. Now it's just like, oh, what should we do? You tell us what you want. No, have the fucking confidence in the art that you're making. Fucking do it.
At the same time, though, like, we're in the internet age now where someone can make a YouTube channel from their fucking bedroom, get 1 million subscribers, and just convince people how to think.
Yeah.
They'll be like, hey, massive fan base, Bungie sucks and Destiny is broken. And then everyone's like, yeah, Destiny is broken. I'm going to be very angry about this now. you know?
For a week.
And you see it all the time, like these influencers on YouTube just being like pampered by developers or companies who are like, oh, I was invited out to play Destiny early and I got to go visit the Bungie offices. Now I like Bungie a little bit more. You know, it's like these guys have so much sway that they're just Bungie are on their knees trying to please all of them at once. You know, they've only got 2 hands and a mouth, but hey, I just feel like that does play a huge part in this, because in the days of Halo 3, there wasn't that influence, and Bungie didn't hear as much volume coming back their way, so they did things their own way and made it better, maybe because of it. I don't know, maybe people have left and the companies.
I think the spike in YouTube activity, and then maybe the inevitable trough in activity, if you like, it's going to drop. You can't just keep riding this YouTube wave up and up and up and expect positive feedback all the time and constant feedback. I mean, how many Destiny videos can you? I used to watch a lot. I mean, a lot. 10-minute videos. I used to hammer like 3 or 4 or 5 a day. How many can you watch, really? I used to watch, start watching unboxing videos. It's the same fucking item. I'll just keep watching it getting unboxed until I get my own, and then I'll unbox it myself.
I do that as well. I do.
But you just keep watching these opinions, and you're right. It does sway you. It is influential into your decision and the decision of millions of other people.
But we've always, I suppose, had that. Maybe it wasn't such a big issue in the past, but if you look at like games journalism, that was pretty much exactly the same. You know, some journalists would write an opinion piece or an article, a review about a game, and people would read that, and that would influence their thinking on the matter. And the same thing happened with journalists. You know, they get invited to these fucking press junkets. They'd get early access to the games. They'd even have guys like, you know, the bigger guys, EA, straight up paying to put ads on their site, and then they'd be reviewing an EA game underneath a big ad for a fucking EA game.
Surprise, surprise! He gave it 9 out of 10. Said it was the best game he ever played. Who'd have thought it?
But you get a problem on Reddit as well, where the mods just have the right to take down whatever opinion they don't like.
I think that's just the problem with Reddit in general, really, isn't it? The mods are just like tyrannical. They're so bad.
But it leads to the same problem, where it's just a echo chamber of the
echo chamber
that people want to be heard.
Mm-hmm. The Reddit circle jerk.
Yeah, but you get it on YouTube as well, when the big YouTubers all have the one opinion. That's the opinion that get pushed.
Well, it has came out in the past that some of the mods on, I don't know any gaming examples off the top of my head, but I remember reading about like either the television or the film subreddit, and some of the mods were actually just straight up taking money from producers to like ban certain topics that were bashing their films or whatever. And I'm sure the same thing goes on with like the game and subreddits and stuff, because they're practically anonymous. It's not like they're even professionals like journalists. It's so easy for them to just take a few quid.
Yeah. Just to go back to your point, Evan, actually, about paying off games journalists, I think that a couple of the differences between them and internet influencers is, like, back in the day, when you were a games journalist, it was more of a business, I guess. You needed money kind of coming in if you wanted to, I don't know, host a website or make a magazine and print a magazine or whatever it was, as opposed to YouTube, where you literally just sit down and you're not paying anything extra really other than buying a camera or whatever, and suddenly you have this massive influence on people. And then also at the same time, back in the day, you know, you didn't have this games as a service carry on as well, where, you know, you could constantly pester a developer. It was like, it's bad or it's good, buy it or don't buy it, you know?
Yeah, it was a product. You know, if it's what you see is what you get.
Yeah, I think we've definitely moved on a lot, but you can see where it's growing out of, and you can see those same problems are still there. It's just that we have other new problems now as well.
Okay, so any closing thoughts about this at all?
It sounds like
that was the longest silence we've ever had on this podcast.
I think it's sad to say that the community is just a driven opinion from people on YouTube and reviewers that are getting paid off. So there is no community; it's just a money pool of corruption.
people who play games aren't developers as well, so they'll be like, "Oh, we want this and we want this," and then eventually developers give in and go, "Okay, you can have this." And they're like, "It's broken."
There was a good post actually. I think I shared it in our chat on Messenger about when people complain not having enough vault space or inventory space or backpack space. And one guy at where was he? He was at a popular developer. I think it was BioWare. Guy used to work at BioWare, and he explained maybe this is some of the difficulty Destiny is having on how that information is communicated as you load into a planet, load into a mission, load back into this, load into your friends. He said about, and he threw in some very basic maths about you carry this many items, has to be teleported to this many different people who are live in the tower, and then this many people have to go back out again at the same time. And he said maybe this is some of the developmental problems they're having. It's not simply, can I have 10 more spaces? It's, you want 10 more spaces, we have to do all of this work, this massive stretch of work to make sure that those 10 spaces are secure every time you load in and out of that game.
I don't buy it.
Well, I mean, this is,
you've got a database of inventory and it's a 1 or a fucking 0. Like, I don't care.
Yeah, look. I mean, look at other games that do it well.
but it's,
You've got
it's
Warframe that
communication
does it.
channels. It's not always about, it's not always as easy as a 1 or a 0. It's about how they've constructed their frame of communication. And
Well, surely they should have torn that down and rebuilt it for Destiny 2 at least.
they should have, and they did for PC, as I
How
understand.
do you have a loot-based game wherein you are severely limited with the amount of loot that you get?
And he wasn't
How
saying
is that?
this is the case with Destiny.
But
He just said
how?
it could
can
be
that
some of the
be a
difficulties
thing?
they have.
Look how ESO does it. You get all the loot that you want. You've got your storage upgrades to put on there. Great, you filled your fucking bank. What do you now?
Worst
I'll
inventory
buy some
management
more
system ever.
spaces. Yeah. Well, buy more bank space. If
No,
they said that you can have 50 more space in your vault, but it's going to cost you like £4 DLC, people would pay that.
But their infrastructure is completely different to how Destiny's infrastructure is, and how limiting it is. Even how you sort items as well. It was quite a good post. I'll reshare it if you like. Maybe put it in the comments down below so people can see it. It's just an opinion from a very qualified individual that just sheds some light on it's not always as easy as deleting 40 and then changing it to a 50. It's not always.
But again, when Bungie say
should be,
things, I
though.
take it with a grain of salt.
No, he's not from Bungie.
Yeah.
He's from BioWare. He's a developer at
BioWare.
BioWare, and he said maybe these are some of the problems Bungie are having because of communication channels and their infrastructure on how it works through their servers.
So that this guy from BioWare is just giving you like a little heads up now that Anthem
Yeah.
will have a
No, he
shit
wasn't.
fucking
He used.
storage
I don't think he was a live employee either, which was my first thought. I thought this is just some guy at Anthem who's fucking laying the foundation for their game, having
Yeah, he's like, don't
5
expect
items.
much from our game.
But yeah, he's a former employee. I can't remember his name. Yeah,
Okay.
put it in the.
What you're saying there really highlights my point. Community is complaining there's not enough storage space.
Yeah.
But they don't understand how it needs to be done. But Bungie aren't communicating why they can't upgrade that storage space or what would be involved for them. And there's the breakdown in communication.
Yeah.
But at least they're hearing us.
They're
But I-
listening.
Yeah.
Well,
they're
imagine
listening.
it. Imagine if Bungie said, "Okay, this is why we can't do inventory space," and then some developer at Anthem says, "Right, we need to break down this because we're not doing it this way because Destiny have had problems further down, so we need to change our game now for it to be better." So they're actively defending the shit that they're working with at the moment because people have come out and said the Destiny engine's awful to work with. It's not good for developers at all. So then if they come up and say these are some of the restrictions we have. I mean, like you say, it's a loot-based game. How did you not build the foundation around having shitloads of loot? How was that not at the forefront of the decision-making process? And they come out and say, actually, we've kind of got all this shit in the way that we have to get over, and we can't get around it. So just bear with us. They're just coming out saying, we're really shit, that you knew anyway, but this is why we're really shit. Stops every other developer from going down the same path. Good for
And it
us.
stops the community from complaining.
Yeah,
The community
I mean,
goes,
it's a
"Oh,
win
okay, I
for
see that."
other developers. It's a win for the community, but Bungie, they'll just shoot themselves in the foot. So it's political suicide, I think.
Isn't that where Destiny 2 should have really fucking shown? Where they would have been like, okay, we're making a brand new game. We're gonna fucking tweak the infrastructure, make it better, so we can.
My understanding is it was for
better handle this
PC.
shit.
Like they had to make so many dramatic changes. I mean, you look at what options you have on PC. You've got field of view, you've got ultra wide mode, just things like that, which seem like very simple options, but not even a viable option on console. Which would have been cool when I had a 21:9 TV ultra wide mode because Destiny was stunning when it came out. But yeah, I think they did go back to groundwork for the PC version. Or that's the impression we got. I don't know if it's true or not. Probably bollocks.
Yep.
No Bungie. They're listening. Here's a PC game 2 months after release.
When people are giving up. But I mean, there's more than just Bungie, right? Bungie are just one of many developers.
They're just a good example for this stuff.
Prime.
Destiny and the communication.
I know, we're just all sounding very bitter.
Who
right now.
does it well? Who does it well apart from Warframe, Chikozy? Who does it well? I mean, I tell you who I thought did it well in the early days, and now the payoff's in. Massive over at Ubisoft. They have they had a nice little studio built. They had this weekly state of the game that you could tune in, watch a video on live. So it wasn't this. I mean, yeah, they would go through a script of stuff they wanted to talk to, but it was a frank conversation about what was going on in the rough and tough days of last year. They really struggled in those because it was just some stupid shit that was fucking the game up in the code and bugs and stuff like this. But now they're loving it. They're just the feel in the videos. Watch a video now. Watch state of the game next week, and you'll see how positive they are, how much they're loving it, because the community feedback is so positive now. Even though all the YouTube opinions are all positive as well, and the magazine reviews are all positive now. Almost like Massive just paved their way to success.
Yeah, they put the groundwork in.
Yeah, they had a rough year.
For communication, and they showed that they're listening. And they tried to implement changes that needed to be made.
It's that immediate payoff circle that people are so used to now. They're so used to putting a picture up on Facebook and getting 100 likes from their friends, getting that self gratification. You can't do that with a game now. You can't log into a game and expect it to be fixed overnight and in such a quick fashion. It took a year for the division to turn itself around. Over a year. But yeah, it's just people expect it to be fixed now. I think that's the problem. They log in, there's a problem, it's not fixed for a week. The fuck are Bungie playing at? Just throwing back to Bungie again, but still. But yeah, you're right. It took a lot of work for Massive and Ubisoft to build this. But they said they'd do that from the start. They said they would be working on this and it would be around for a long time.
I know, but it would have been so easy just for them to jump ship.
Yeah, I mean, they had every opportunity, every update. They could have just left it and let it die, but I'm glad they've stuck with it, actually, because I am enjoying it, Darren. How are you enjoying it?
I'm not a big fan right now. But then again, I'm a level 3.
Yeah.
It's not also because you were waiting for like half an hour for us to do.
Yeah.
You know, that was just a frustrating evening of gaming. It's like, let's play GTA and wait on Chikozy. Let's play Division and wait until I level up. Let's play Rocket League and wait on Carl to start
the game. Jesus Christ.
Chikozy, what the fuck are you on about?
The not level 0 to 30 is probably the best.
There is no level 0, by the way. It bugs me that you say level 0 to 30.
Level 1 to 30. Level 1 to 30 is the most satisfying progression curve in the game. And then you go into the end game, it's completely different. So enjoy this 1 to 30 experience.
But then there's the story where it's just like, I'm shouting really loud and there's a helicopter and we've got a job to do and there's people to save and we've got to do things and oh no, we've gotten shot, oh, and now I'm going to die and you don't know who I am and the commander and this, we've got a job to do, and then you're just like grand again and I'm like, what's happening?
Do you want a spoiler?
No. But yeah.
Okay. The woman that you're on about, how long has the Division been out now? Is it 2 years?
Yeah, 2 years this March.
She's still got a fucking broken leg. Like there's an area in the base where you walk in, and she's there, and she's got a broken leg.
I just don't understand. Like, why don't they just leave Manhattan?
You'll find out.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, you played half an hour? Was it
a bit more?
Yeah,
maybe 31 minutes.
Right, just sit down. Just play the first. Just play like 3 hours to yourself. No chat, no party, nothing. Just play it.
Yeah, the world is one of the best characters in that game. That's where you see the heart of the developers in that world. The tiny little details, it's just brilliant. We still find stuff now. Like we'll go through buildings or we'll go through subways, undergrounds, and we'll see a little set piece that they've put together. with graffiti and artwork and dead bodies and stuff. It
Big
sounds
dick on the wall,
really
like.
awful. Just smearing dead body blood on the wall, making graffiti. But you just see the effort they go to in the tiniest little nooks and crannies. It's good. Stick with it.
I think one of my favorite things about the game, and it's such a small thing, is like, like when you're like when you're standing still, right, and it's like snowing. After like 2 or 3 minutes, there's like a layer of snow on your jacket and hat in the game, and it's just like that's pretty sweet, pretty tasty.
Yeah,
I actually do appreciate those little touches.
Well, you'll love it when you shut the car doors then.
yeah. I've shut. There's even a trophy, isn't it, for shutting?
No, there's not a trophy. It's like an in-game.
Oh yeah, the commendation.
Achievement. Yeah. So is anyone else really hyped to play Shadow of the Colossus again?
Pre-ordered. I've never played it at all.
Yeah, I'm hyped to play it for the first time.
Man, I was watching that video that Carl sent around. It's an official PlayStation video of them just talking about actually bringing it back to life on PlayStation and how they've approached it. And even by the sounds of things where they have 2 control schemes, they have a new control scheme that's in line with like newer games, but you can also have the old control scheme if for whatever reason you wanted it. And like talking about how when you first get on that fuzzy Colossus, how on PlayStation 2 it was incredible that his hair was moving at the time. That was a big thing. You're like, oh my god, this game looks so beautiful. His hair's moving. So they went and like paid extra attention to his hair this time round to make it as realistic as they possibly could, because they remembered the impact that it had when you first played it. So they weren't just going to be like, let's just throw hair on him. They like spent a long amount of time on his hair.
Yeah,
Talking about how what they did was they actually broke the PlayStation 2 game down into its like geometric shapes and then plastered like a new layer of textures over it and stuff. It just sounds like
they rebuilt assets, didn't they? They rebuilt every asset in the game. So
it's a remake, not a remaster.
Yeah, which I'm loving as well, because PlayStation 4 was my first PlayStation console. Never had any. I had a PS1 back in the day when it was like a 70 quid offer from Argos, but I've only ever experienced Xbox from the start to Xbox 360, and then moved over to PlayStation. So seeing these prime games come out, like the Uncharted collection, so glad I played those. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to Shadow of the Colossus, because I've got The Last Guardian still wrapped up. Never opened that. And I played Ico on PlayStation Now, which was good. Or Eco. Well, no, it's Eco.
And Last Guardian I bought on sale at the moment. I desperately want to pick up both of them because I haven't played Okami in a long time. And
£11 each.
The PC version of Okami is meant to be phenomenal because, fucking graphics like.
Yeah, well, this one is an uprising anyway. And then there's also Last Guardian, which I haven't played, haven't heard the best things about, but I still got to check it out.
What do you think, Carl?
What's The Last Guardian? I liked it. You can definitely tell it's of its time. It does feel like you're playing a game that's 10 years in the making.
What does that mean? Because Duke Nukem Forever was 10 years in the making, and that was a pile of steaming horseshit.
Like some things that developers could get away with 10 years ago. It's not really. You don't really see in games these days. Like there's little hand holding. Like there's been times where I'm playing like, right, where do I go next? Then when you work out, you're like, oh, for fuck's sake.
That was in
it is, but well. Sometimes it gets really, really tedious, and sometimes the creature doesn't do what you want it to do. Which again, the
intentional though, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, the developer could say it's intentional, but sometimes it's just bad game design when you're trying to do something and it never works out. So you're like there for like half an hour, 40 minutes trying to do something and it's not fucking doing it.
Sounds great,
but overall, it's beautiful.
Should we do Carl's what are we buying host?
Oh god damn it. Let me MC here. I was waiting. I was like, we're talking about a game that's on sale. It's a fantastic segue into Carl's what are you buying?
Carl, should we just cut this bit out, Carl? Just cut this out. Let Darren have his clean segue.
I'll keep it in just for a reminder what a cunt you've been, but go on.
Like you need a reminder.
Okay, Carl, kick us off.
Right. Wolfenstein, still on offer.
Do the intro.
Yeah.
What are you buying?
What are you selling?
I'll
buy it at a high price. Low price.
Not enough cash, stranger.
Come back anytime.
We need a jingle as well for
Right. Ben, you need to play the fucking game. I can't believe you haven't played Resident Evil 4 yet. In fact,
Is it an offer? Is it an offer?
Well, it was an offer, and I told you about it. You're like, whatever.
Wait, how many people bought it there and then as well? Didn't you have a live purchase, Darren, there and then on Resident Evil? Oh no, that was Rocket League on the Switch. We all got excited because you were about to buy it.
Didn't buy it, which
It's not bother either.
because my Switch is out of battery. I have bought Resident Evil 4 3 times now.
Well, can you send me one? Can you just send me a version?
Yeah, I'll mail you my Wii version.
Oh, it was so good on the Wii.
I actually
that will never
one of the
arrive
only
here.
really good games.
I played it on the Wii for the first time actually.
Yeah, so
And the cover was dope as well. The cover was
Oh, yeah.
Most of it,
Well, it was the same cover as the GameCube version, wasn't it? But white and black.
yeah,
The GameCube
which
one was-
looked really well with the white Wii case. It just looked really
Yeah.
fucking sick.
My
Right,
favorite.
Carl, is it on offer?
I'm looking now.
Oh my god!
It's exciting. It's
sorry,
live.
Carl's, what are you buying? What are you selling? Tell us about the latest video game deals.
Yeah,
well,
what we got?
Wolfenstein's still on offer, about £4 each. You should recommend getting them.
About £4. How come you don't know the exact price?
Because I've already bought the games and it's not telling me the price, and you didn't fucking tell me yesterday.
Why don't you just look on the PlayStation Store online, not logged in?
Because I'm logged in. Shut up.
Then log out. You're not buying anything. Just log out.
Yeah, store's a fucking mess when you're not logged
It's
in.
not a fucking mess.
It
Just
is,
go to
it is.
deal.
Shut up.
Incognito.
It's just it's funny because this whole segment was born of the fact that every podcast Carl would be like, "Oh, that game's on sale. You should buy that game." So we were like, "Let's give Carl a segment, right?" Because he just can never help himself with talking about games on sale. Then we'll just let him talk about games on sale, and because it's a weekly podcast, it makes sense, and people can go out and buy it, and blah blah blah. And
He hasn't even
just
done that right.
Doesn't prepare at all.
Zero prep.
Well,
He has nothing for this
fucking-
podcast.
No, that's bullshit though, because he also edits everything and mixes it and puts in the sound effects and
What
yeah.
sound effect?
I love when Carl says he's putting
Yeah.
sound effects in
Yeah.
and then never turn up.
There's some of them. We're not going to be bothered. But here we go. Let's have a look. It's loading now. It's loading.
I love
Right.
when you leave in the bits that are like insert clip here, and then you just don't put the sound clip in.
Right, here we go. We've got Akami, $11.49. Fucking bargain.
That's pounds though. That's Great British pounds.
Yeah, but they're practically at parity with the euro at this point.
Yeah, it's 114 to the euro at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, 114 to the pound.
I actually got given over Christmas some pounds by one of my relatives as a Christmas present, and I went to cash it. And there's this like dodgy currency exchange on the corner of one of the streets near where I work. So I was like,
I like
oh,
how you prefix that this place is dodgy, and then you go to tell us how you went in and exchanged it. But go on.
So I went in and I'm like, how much could you give me for this? And I think it was about £30 I had, and he was like, oh, I'll give you like $31.50. And I thought, yeah, I figured this place is like a scam.
That's about right.
And then I went into the bank that I'm with, and I'm like, how much can you give me for this? And they're like $32.50. Turns out it's just not worth it right now.
No, it's not, and it's the best it's been for about 6 months.
I know.
You've got Dying Light, the following enhanced edition for $15.99.
I bought that game for like £9 and jumped into it and was like, okay, cool, let's do it. And then I played it for like 5 minutes and never played it again.
Oh, you should play it because
Stick it out when you get to the base. It's great.
it's good.
Drive Club's $9.99 at the moment. That's worth a purchase. Season pass is $7.99.
Hellblade, $15.99.
Yeah, I want to get that. I think I'm going to give them $15.99. Even if I don't play it for months, I'm going to give them that.
Oh, isn't that game that was made
Ben.
by the guys that made the new Devil May Cry reboot that was terrible?
Yeah, DMC. It wasn't terrible. It was good. It was just Dante was a shit design.
He was.
The gameplay was
Too
good.
hipster.
Have you ever seen the pictures of the new Dante design side by side with I think it's the lead developer or like one of the lead guys on, is it Team Ninja? Is that who makes it?
Yeah.
But yeah, basically he looks exactly like him, and everyone's like, "Did you just put yourself into a game?" Like
I want to be cool. Dante's cool. I want to be like Dante.
the new Dante
Tomb Raider,
isn't cool though.
Definitive
He used to
Edition.
be cool. He's not anymore.
I wonder why.
Did the DSX Mankind Divided season pass for a $5?
$4.99.
Yeah,
Need specifics
under
here.
a
People might
$5.
not have that penny. Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, $4.99. Whoever bought that, buy it. It's a bargain.
You haven't bought it.
Well, I might buy it then. Wasteland 2 Director's Cut £6.24.
That is a
one of the
bargain.
hardest game I've played for a long time, and it is great. It's that
And
old
it's
inventory slot style isometric.
soon coming
adventure.
to the Switch as well.
Yeah, it's gonna be great on Switch. I need to get back into that. What else have we got here?
I thought this was Carl's segment.
Yeah, I'm sick of half-assery.
I'm fucking on it right now.
I need
That's why I'm
results,
getting the
Carl.
prices from. Resident Evil remake, $5.79. Fucking play it 'cause it's the best remake ever.
Echo $12.99.
I actually already own it and I haven't played a second of it.
Buy it again. Resident Evil 0.
The Crew Home
$5.79.
Edition $15.99.
Shut up.
Are you guys just calling out games now, or are you calling out games?
We're calling out games on sale.
Yeah, I'm looking for Resident Evil 4, but there's some Resident Evil games that are on offer.
It's not on offer.
Revelations 2. That's not for $8.99.
Absolver's $11.99 at the minute. I wanted to try that whole combat mastery game. That's meant to be something quite good.
Yeah, I
The
heard that
Dishonored
that was
games.
Try that as well.
It's like
$11.99 right now.
Good.
Yeah, Dishonored.
It's a steep curve, isn't it? Learning curve. That. What was that called? Dishonored
Yeah.
what?
Definitive Edition, Dishonored $8.99 and Dishonored 2 $11.49.
Yeah, that's good actually. Divinity Original Sin Enhanced Edition. That's $9.99. Speaking of Devil May Cry, that's $8.99. The definitive.
I actually started playing Divinity: The Original Sin, and just couldn't get into it.
I've started it twice, and like I really liked it, but it just kind of got away from me. Like I just got distracted by something.
I just play it for a few hours, and then I'd like just leave the village, and there'd be one or two skeletons, and like I'd walk up to them, and then I just get my ass handed to me, and I just like I'm doing something wrong here, but I also just don't want the time investment it's going to take me to figure out this system.
Yeah, I think you have to like level up and get some gear in the village by just doing like talking to people quests before you're in a position where you can even just bash a few fucking rats or skeletons.
Yeah, and then it was like, solve the mystery of the murder. And I was like, okay. And then they were like, this is the room he was murdered in. And then you walk in, and then like you suddenly just get teleported into like another universe. And there's like this goblin guy, and he's like, oh, I'm looking at the end of the universe with my telescope. And I was like, what the fuck is going on in this game, man? And then
What was that? Sorry, Darren.
And then it's like, go find all the original sins and save the world. And I was like, what? They're not original sins. They're like some stones or something. I don't know. I was just like, okay, this game I was not expecting the sci-fi part.
It's not sci-fi. It's fantasy like.
Yeah, well, it's fantasy, except that you're floating in space and you're using telescopes to view astronomical events that indicate the end of the world.
Yeah, but in a very fantasy way. Like they're brass telescopes. They're not big fuck off Hubble deep field shit.
No, you're right. Yeah, no, you're right. I just it didn't sit well with me.
Chikozy, what was that game you were playing with the guns that shoot? Sorry, that bullet shoots guns that shoot bullets.
Enter the Gungeon.
That's $4.99 right now on PlayStation.
Bargain.
Yeah, and the Gravity Rush games as well, which are very good games apparently. $6.49 remastered, $11.99 for the second one.
Okay, guys. So let's move on then to our final topic of the day, which will be our review of Captain America: The First Avenger. Yay!
Are we doing that? Are we doing the yay? Is that the thing now?
I don't know. I was trying to do like the sound of crowd like cheering, and it just came out as just like pathetic. Yeah, like that.
Guys, I thought we were doing Batman v Superman.
No, it was
Spider-Man 2.
I had an interview with the guy who played the Incredible Hulk.
We're doing the Captain America film from the 80s, don't we?
I thought we were doing the
Motorcycle
notes with Lou Ferrigno.
Yes.
So I was thinking then, in terms of formatting, because Ben loves his trivia, I think we'll have a trivia section at the end of the review, and we'll just do a quick plot synopsis by Cathal McGrain, and we'll just talk about some things, casting, little bits and pieces, some thoughts we had, and then we'll get into like trivia and maybe how it will connect into the future Marvel movies.
Can I just say, early notes, there wasn't a huge amount of trivia in this film.
Huh.
Even doing additional research, couldn't find a huge amount.
Okay.
Oh.
So
Anyway.
the movie was released in what year? 2011.
Yeah.
It's the last movie before the Avengers movie. So this is the last one that will set up the Avengers. We also see our first Infinity Stone, which is pretty cool, and I want to talk about that a little bit. And it sets everything up for what came to be one of the best superhero movies ever made, I think, in the Avengers, and did something that we'd never seen before. So yeah, I was talking about this with Cathal before we started the podcast, and he was like, I actually have notes of all the different scenes in the movie. So if you want to take it away, Cathal, and talk us through Captain America.
Yeah, just going to go through the plot. So, we start off, they find the ship in the ice, and they find Captain frozen, and then we zoom in on his shield, and it's like, woohoo, it's Captain America. All right. And then we move on to Schmidt finding...
Schmitty!
Yeah. Schmidt finding the cube.
I think like that line when they find him and they're like, this one's waited long enough. That's what that was.
There's a few lines like that in it, though, isn't there?
Yeah.
Mostly from fucking Captain America, or Steve Rogers before he's Captain America.
Also, was it Walter Frey that found Captain America? Was that guy Walter Frey?
No.
Yeah, Chikosi said it was, yeah.
You mean what, Filch from Harry Potter, is it?
Yeah.
The guy
Harry
from the
Potter?
strain.
Anyway, yeah, so then we cut to Schmitty.
Yeah, blowing up the town and finding the cube. Or the Tesseract, isn't it?
Yeah, the Cosmic Cube.
So he gets it, and it's like, here's our evil guy, cool. And then we meet our hero, Cap. And he's getting the shit kicked out of him, and he's trying to sign up to the army, but it's obviously really scrawny at this point.
But it's funny as well, because like he's really scrawny, but it's obviously like CG.
Yeah.
It's done really well, though.
Holds up pretty well, doesn't it?
Yeah. Even now, it's like it's what they did for Benjamin Button. It's just you know it's CGI, which is why it looks a bit odd. But it's really good. It looks so good, even all the fight scenes.
Yeah.
Apparently, it was done by a company that specializes in digital plastic surgery.
Oh,
Like,
interesting.
Trivia.
Meant to be at
Trivia's
the
at
end.
the end, Chikosi. God damn.
Is that like
fucking
code
ruined it.
for making fat chicks not look fat?
Yes, but I couldn't help it.
You find out that Steve's parents died or are dead, so he's like by himself, and then his granddad or grandfather was in the 107 regiment,
His
right?
dad was in the 107th.
Yeah, and he wants to like be there. And then there's that scene where he's getting the shit kicked out of him after giving out to the guy in the cinema, and he like picks up the lid of the dustpan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little
protect
foreshadowing to
which
Captain America.
I thought was great. Man, I just want to start just before you continue. I fucking love this movie. People hated it, but I really
good
enjoyed
film.
this movie. Go on.
Yeah, another note then in this part, we get to see Stark, and we meet Bucky as well. So, introduction to all them. The next section then is the training camp, where he's been signed up to the...
Yeah, so he's trying to sign up for the army, right? And then the German lad comes, and he's like, you're a good chap. I'll give you a chance in the army. And I'd forgotten that. I thought it was like, oh, you want to do really well, but you're skinny, so here's the super soldier. But it's like, no, they just send him into the army, and it's just like, there's a couple of scenes of him just, like, being smart and intelligent, but physically unimpressive. Like, when he, like, lowers the sheet, they tell him to climb up and get the flag, and he, like, takes the flagpole down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Work
Like, little
smart.
things like that. It's pretty good, but at the same time, I felt like, I was like, let me just see Captain America. Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was to really build on the fact all this humility that he has. He was always the complete opposite to the arrogance of Iron Man. He's a really good guy.
See,
He's brave, but he never really shows that intelligence again later in the film. Really, after
There
that, when he
was-
gets his muscles, just like boom.
there was just one scene that was missing that I felt was missing. There's kind of iconic bit where in the comics when he's jumping out of his planes and one of the like new recruits for the army's like, that guy didn't have a parachute, and like the guy looks back at him like, yeah, he says parachutes for pussies.
That wouldn't have happened at this
Doesn't suit
stage,
the
right?
character either. Yeah, it wouldn't happen at this stage.
Yeah, I know. It's just, you know, the way he was portrayed as he's constantly humble in the film, I suppose, compared
Yeah,
to
almost sickly.
kind of little things like that where, you know, he's not being an asshole or anything. It's just like he's aware of his elevated rank among the regular soldiers.
Okay. So, yeah, he proves his smarts, his bravery, and with the flag and jumping on the grenade when it gets thrown in.
Oh yeah, I think that was a good scene as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the deciding factor, isn't it?
To prove to Full Metal Jackass that he's...
He had that written down.
You have been waiting to use that one.
No, I actually thought it was right there.
I've been waiting 7 years for this.
All right, so then he's picked, so he goes and he gets the super soldier serum, and he's getting all the rays put on him, and they're like, stop! And he's, for some reason, I don't know why they decided to stop.
Yeah, they're like, they built this apparatus that's gonna like be painful, and then they're like, oh, it's too painful. It's like, you knew it was, you designed the thing.
They're like, we're at 70% power, we better stop.
That's like building a car and like them being like, oh, it drives too fast. It's like, you built a fucking car. Like, anyway,
Yeah, but they do that. They limit
Exactly happens,
road
like.
cars to 155, even though they can go faster.
Yeah, but it'd be like limiting it to 155, then seeing it hit 155 and say, oh, it's too fast.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
Because they had to turn it up to 100% anyway for it to work. But why were they surprised that it was painful when... Anyway, it just seems weird to me.
Yeah, so then we get the Hydra agent has snuck in. He shoots the doctor.
So we find out before that, right, that Schmidt had been with this German doctor lad and had taken the serum, right? And he knows about the super soldier serum.
Mhm.
And that's what caused German doctor guy to flee to... Schmidt's...
Oh, the other German doctor.
Schmidt's
sorry.
the head of Hydra.
Yeah.
Yeah, Schmidt's Red Skull.
So then there's the Hydra agent there
Mhm.
because he's trying to get the super soldier serum back.
He grabs a vial of it, runs off, and Cap's like, oh, fuck. Runs after him, we get a whole chase scene.
I need a hero!
And we get a great little scene where he throws the kid in the river, and the kid's like, I can swim, just fucking go after him.
Yeah. The little, don't forget the taxi, the cab door, which again has like a little circle and then a star in the middle, another little captain reference.
Yeah.
Which isn't needed at this point because he's already fucking jacked.
It's a cab tin.
Oh!
Or
Okay, and then, he's a bit of a hero. And
it goes off the submarine, yeah.
And then we're told that he's not getting assigned anywhere because, they can't make any more super soldiers. So he just goes on the publicity.
Yeah, it's like, we can't make any more super soldiers, so you're not allowed to be a soldier either. We can't have one super soldier.
That's what happened. And he didn't want to sit in a lab, so they're like, hey, you can go and entertain everyone and make them buy bonds. So
He goes on this
support the war effort.
propaganda bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I actually kind of liked, because it's a way of explaining how ridiculous the whole Captain America thing is. I mean, in the comics, when he was first created, it made sense. And the actual first, you see it in the movie, but the cover of the first ever Captain America comic book was him punching Hitler. And then you see the comic that the kids are reading in it, and it's him punching Hitler. So they take the comic bookiness and make it a comic book. And the whole Captain America thing is he is a propaganda, because that wasn't really in the comics where he's doing staged performances. So I really like that, and that's where he got the really ridiculous outfit that then he later kind of makes more gritty and realistic. I thought that was great though, where he's walking out and he's doing the talk and he's like, oh, and he's punching the fake Hitlers and stuff, and the kids are like, he's behind you. I really like all that. That was great.
This is Marvel's. They developed this talent, didn't they? Where they addressed the obvious, that these are people running around in tight pants and these are superheroes, and they just addressed the really obvious straight away. It's like, yeah, it was just this guy on stage, all theatrical.
Yeah, it's like in Thor when he gets his outfit back, and Natalie Portman is like, is this how you normally look? He's like, it is, and she's like, oh, it's a great look. He's just swooning so hard,
I could smell her from the back row in the cinema. Just saying, Natalie Portman.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Switching gears, if you will.
Yeah.
Had to get it in somewhere.
I was deliberately trying not to say switching gears.
So yeah, we get a montage of him doing the shows, and then he's eventually doing the show for the soldiers, and they're like, "Fuck you! We're soldiers. What the fuck are you doing? You're not doing anything." You get a scene in here actually, real quick, with the Red Skull getting a painting of him, but there's no reveal. His face is all covered.
I have a problem with that, the way they handle the fact that he wears the mask and he doesn't wear the mask, and then he wears the mask and then he doesn't wear the mask. Yeah. It's like, oh, now that I face Captain America, I'm going to take off this skin mask that I've been wearing all of the time and decide to just be red-faced. a Red Skull.
Legend. Tim Curry from Legend.
Yeah, it is as red as that as well. Isn't
It is, isn't it? It is so fucking red.
But it looks so fucking dope. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. But it's meant to be intimidating as well. So
But
it's like
you're
scare
forgetting
tactic.
in the meantime, then Hydra are like using the Tesseract, which is the space gem or the space stone, to create like weapons, right? And like technology. And they're studying it and how it like is energy and stuff like that. So their technology is like advancing much faster than
Yeah.
it would.
I love how they were so bad, even the Nazis didn't want them anymore. I mean, you've got to be really bad to get binned off by the Nazis as well.
Yeah, and it was well done enough, like to still have them as like Nazis, but not have them as Nazis.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Same flavour.
so they don't have to edit it for Germany.
Yeah. Smart.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then, yeah, he's giving talk to the soldiers, and then he hears about the 107th being sent in, and he knows Bucky's in the 107th.
Yeah, and he tries to find if he's alive.
And he's like, shit, I'm going to go out. Oh, he goes to the captain. He's like, have you got a plan?
Did you also notice
we're going to
that
win the war.
Natalie Dormer's there at that point as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
noticed
thought it
that.
was her.
Where did
What
she
was
come
that?
from?
Yeah.
Was that
She
point?
just came in for the shift.
She want a bit,
Was it that
bit of the
point?
captain's deck.
no, that
that's
was
not yet.
that was way after. That's after he rescues the soldiers.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, getting ahead of myself.
So yeah, he goes into the 107th, and we get a whole big fight scene, and another reference to how ridiculous he looks when the soldiers are like, "Who the hell are you?" And he's like, "I'm
Yeah.
Captain. I've punched Hitler
That
over
shit
100
shield.
times."
I love that
I like
thing
that.
where he goes,
Yeah.
"I've punched Hitler over 100 times" or something.
200 times. It was over 200
He
times.
says he's knocked him out over 200 times.
And
Do you even know what you're doing? I've knocked Hitler out over 200 times.
Yeah, and then he gets Bucky. We see them. He gets a quick glance at the map, which will become relevant in the next scenes. And then we get we get all the soldiers coming back, don't we? No,
Is this
no,
the
sorry.
montage?
He fights Red Skull. So we get the reveal now at this point when Red Skull confronts him as he's breaking all the prisoners out.
Yeah, because he does the whole montage, doesn't he? Base destroying.
No, that's not yet. This is when he's still rescuing the 107th. We get
Oh,
the reveal of who the Red
okay.
Skull is and how he actually looks.
And he pulls off his mask.
And he pulls
Yeah.
off his
Yeah.
mask. And then we get the Red Skull running away like a bitch and escaping in his dildo jet.
He's dildo jet. Yeah.
Dildo jet,
Point
yeah.
out in the comics, it's the other way around, where he wears
Captain
a
America
Red Skull
tears his
mask.
face off.
Yes, and then the Red Skull wears Captain America's face.
Oh, I see.
No, actually, sorry, he wears a mask in the comics, but in the movie, it's like some weird deformity from the super soldier serum, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Because it brought out his inner evil. Or something.
That's what they say. Yeah, it like if
Evil.
you're evil, it brings out your inner evil. If you're good, it brings out your inner good.
It was never
Sounds
really
pretty
explained why he
scientific.
turned bright red, to be honest.
Yeah.
Reasons.
Why didn't
Reasons, yeah.
Cap turn blue or white, like fully white?
Yeah. Okay. So then they come back to the base, and we get a reference to how far ahead the Nazis are. When Stark looks at the technology they bring back, and he's like, "We're not even close to this."
I do like Stark in this as well, Dominic Cooper.
I forgot he was in it so much.
Yeah, you kind of forget, because you remember the flashback videos of Tony Stark's dad. He's just this like old businessman. And then you think that's just not Tony Stark's dad. And then you see Dominic Cooper and you think, oh yeah, that's Tony Stark's dad. He's just like Tony Stark.
So then we go to Captain America getting his suit and his shield from Stark. And he gets the vibranium shield.
It's funny that they're like, here's all these shields, and then they have one like underneath that's just like the most powerful metal on the planet. And they
the
weren't
only
even-
the only amount of it.
It's like, this is the only amount that we have, and we just haven't even considered it. But yeah.
Yeah, but also this is all we have, so we're going to give it to you. Off you go. Bye. Don't lose it.
The shield is fucking awesome.
The shield
though.
is
It
awesome.
is
But it's
awesome.
all the vibranium
noise.
they have, and they just let him have it.
Yeah.
Noise it makes.
Well, the vibranium comes from Wakanda, which obviously we will see in Black Panther soon, and how they use it. It's like superconducting and all this stuff, so it's led to them being very technologically advanced. It in the comics, at least, it landed on Earth in a meteor. It crash landed in Wakanda, and it was found, and they kept it secret. And it was like, I think it like in the soil, it enriched the soil as well, and all this crazy shit. So you'll see a lot of mention of vibranium in Black Panther. And you'll remember that in Avengers 2, which we'll see, the Vision himself is made from vibranium as well, that Ultron steals from Andy Serkis's character, who stole the vibranium from Wakanda, and he's like branded for doing it. And he'll also be a Black Panther. So you can even see way back as far as the First Avenger, they're referencing vibranium, which at the time I loved, because I mean, being an Avengers comic book fan, I was like, vibranium, Black Panther.
I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah,
like, this is so cool, and telling me all about vibranium.
Better than adamantium. Fuck you, Wolverine.
That was literally my question. How does it rank up against adamantium if Wolverine went to show a Black Panther?
I think Captain America's shield isn't made of pure vibranium. It's made of a mix of adamantium. There's another metal, I can't remember the name of it.
Maybe in the comics, but in the movies, I don't think they can mention adamantium because it's
copyrighted by Fox.
It's
At the
pure
time.
vibranium.
It's vibrantium.
Yeah, there's something like that, and it's like meant to be stronger.
Vibrasium.
Okay, and then this is the part where we get Natalie Dormer as well.
Oh yeah.
I like the way that Captain America wanted to keep the America-ness from his stage shows. You know, he's like, I have a few ideas for a costume, and they're like, yeah, whatever you want. I like that he like wanted to be that inspiration and stuff. I just think he's a very good character in this, and his development is fantastic.
Yeah, he's got a great arc. I think it's probably one of the best in the early ones, even better than Iron Man.
I think one of my favorite Marvel romances as well. I think the way that it was done was very good. That she definitely had like the feelings for him, and she's like, this guy's great, and she's the one that believes in him, and she's the one that kind of says, I think you're meant for more, which then inspires him. I think it's just very well done.
That was something I was going to mention. Like, it's much more natural than a lot of romances I've seen recently in movies.
Yeah.
It felt very natural, really well done.
Yeah.
I always found it weird though that then he just goes off when he gets back. Gets with their daughter
he doesn't.
or niece or something.
Not yet. No. You're thinking way ahead in movies.
I know it's way on, but
no, he doesn't. Does he kiss her? I don't think he does.
I
don't think he actually kisses her.
Yeah, underneath in that bridge scene. But sorry, that's way on.
That is way on. Oh yeah, you're right. So we see Natalie Dormer, and she's like, just like, I'm working and I have a job, but I'm just gonna fucking jump you. Like,
no, come behind the bookcase.
Go behind this bookcase. Like, what was that about? But anyway.
Have we seen the cameo by Stan Lee at this point?
Yes. Captain America's getting his award after he rescues the 400 soldiers, and Stan Lee is there. He's an army vet.
I thought he'd be taller.
I thought he'd be taller. Excelsior.
Not his best one, but pretty cool.
No, but he's still there. He's still alive.
93 is he now?
Something like that.
I don't know. 100. How the fuck now?
100.
Okay, so I think that point kind of finishes the first arc of the film, the first half, and then we get the montage of him building his team and destroying all the weapon factories as the Let's Go gets angrier and angrier that no one can stop him because he's just a dude with a shield. The montage was interesting, and then that ends with the train scene where they're chasing Doc Zorro. I'm pretty sure it's
Which is from Uncharted 2.
Zolo.
Is it?
It's basically exactly the same as Uncharted 2, yeah.
Ah,
I just as soon as I saw that,
Arnim
that's
Zola.
Uncharted 2.
Is it Zola? Yeah, it's Arnim Zola, I think his
Zola?
name is. Yeah. He's a big Captain America villain. He comes back, doesn't he? He's in Winter Soldier.
Yeah, he's in the computer.
He's in the computer. Because in the comics, he is like a face on a screen of a robot. Like the robot has like a screen in its chest and his face is in it, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yep, he is.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
He plays a big part in the Death of Captain America comic book arc.
Yeah. Okay.
I think he's been in the Spider-Man TV series, not to go off on a tangent.
No, I think you're thinking of another guy. I think
can't
there's
remember.
MODOK or something. No, MODOK. I don't know.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
he's thinking of MODOK.
Yeah.
MODOK is the massive head dude in the chair.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah,
So
they
then-
capture Zola.
No, on the train scene, we see Bucky pick up the shield and then get blasted out. And this is where Bucky falls off the train.
Oh yeah,
And you can just hear him say, I'm going to come back as a villain if I'm still alive.
Yeah.
He
if
looks
you
so
listen
much.
very
He looks
closely.
so much better with short hair. I hate that like pseudo long hair thing that Winter Soldier has. He looks like he should be in a 2001 like screamo band.
Yeah. Although I do like
Yeah.
his maroon granddad top that he wears throughout Winter Soldier. It's quite a cool top. Can't find it anywhere. I want one.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, so then they've captured Zola and they bring him back and they interrogate him.
And there's that whole scene with the steak, and he's like, "What is in it? Hair American?"
How?
And it's like, "It's cow." I thought that was very funny.
Yeah.
I think Tommy Lee Jones was just fantastic throughout the entire movie.
I mean, just look at this. Look at the cast, the supporting cast of this film. Yeah, you've got Toby Jones playing the little professor. You've got Hugo Weaving. You've got Tommy Lee Jones. You've got Dominic Cooper, and then obviously Sam Jackson. But for a film that was, I know it was almost established as successful. This film wasn't actually as successful as the other films. It only made nearly 400 million, which compared to the other films, it's not a lot, and especially when it cost 200 million to make. So it's a bit of a gamble, but the
I think
cost
it's
of
fantastic.
yeah, the casting's fantastic. I think that's probably helped it along, gave it that serious note. I think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so go on.
So then we get the assault on the final base, which they've extracted the location of from Doc Zola. And we get everyone assaulting it and Captain chasing the Red Skull basically through the base while there's a huge fight going on.
Yeah, and then it ends up with Tommy Lee Jones, Agent Carter, whoever she is, and Cap in a car driving after this. It's like, I hate when movies do that, where it's like, in a realistic situation, those three would never end up in that situation, but they're just, because they're the main characters, they're the ones that happen to end up there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, so the Red Skull like has the Tesseract, right? And he's on this big ship and he's going towards New Like
Yeah.
With bombs labeled for
bomb
New
on
York
the
as well,
East
just in case he forgets.
Coast.
Notice that.
Yeah.
It's like exposition with bomb labels. I thought it was great. It's like, I wonder where they're going.
Yeah, so they're trying to catch the
in
plane.
English as well?
I don't know.
What was that? Sorry.
Weren't the bomb labels in English?
Yeah, there was.
They were, actually.
Yeah.
Isn't there a bit where he's climbing he's climbing a plane and somebody falls into a propeller as well and just fucking explodes into a million pieces? Just back onto the brutal bits of Marvel. I can't remember if that was earlier or if that was at this point.
No, it's in a little bit.
All right, okay, yeah. Just because we'd picked up on whether it was too brutal for Marvel with the Beast in Thor the other week.
Yeah, there were two or three parts like that in this film.
Just a little. I just like the fact that Marvel are still a little bit brutal. But sorry, interrupting again.
So then they're chasing the plane, and he gets a kiss off you one, and then Tommy Lee Jones is like, "I'm not kissing you." Great line.
Yeah,
and then they catch the plane, and he jumps on the plane.
Yes.
And we move on to then him being on the plane. He throws some dudes out of the plane. Very funny.
Yeah.
And he gets to the control room, and we're having the fight with the skull. It was all right, I thought. And then the skull picks up the Tesseract, and it destroys him / shoots him into space or something. I didn't really understand what happened to him, but he's gone. Yeah.
I'm assuming they left it open because the Red Skull, correct me if I'm wrong, is considered like the Captain America villain, isn't he?
Yeah, he's his main.
Red Skull and Captain
antagonist. Sorry.
Yeah. So
arch nemesis.
If he's blasted into space and it's like, oh, this guy has the super soldier serum, and if Captain America can survive in an ice cube.
That's like Thor, where Loki just fell off the bridge into space, but still
and somehow ends up chilling with Thanos.
Yeah.
Maybe they see each other on their way.
Yeah, it's like, hey,
let's go.
over here.
You look angry and evil. Come with me.
Why don't you stop being over there and be over here?
Stall the ball, lads.
And he's like, I'm not a Nazi. I'm in the Matrix.
Okay, and then the Tesseract burns through the floor and falls into the sea. And then Cap is like, shit, I can't stop this plane. Gonna have to crash it. He rings his love.
They have that
they have the
whole
whole
like
scene.
save the dance for me. And she's like, oh, she gives him a date and she goes, be there or else or something. And it's just so heartbreaking. And it's such a good relationship. And then I had to message my wife and just tell her that I don't want her to die because it made me sad. Really emotional, man.
But yeah, it's a great relationship. It's believable. So when you have that really like stereotypical scene where he has to ring her and be like, yeah, I'm gonna be there. you feel for it because it's a believable relationship.
Mhm.
It's great.
And the fact that it's probably not going to be there.
All I'm seeing is
Yeah.
Way to
Cathal
stand
and
someone up
Darren.
like.
All I'm seeing is Cathal and Darren watching this, sitting on the sofa, hugging each other with a big bowl of Häagen-Dazs.
I'll never let
between
go.
them.
I can
Under
neither
a blanket.
confirm nor deny this happened.
Yeah, and then Captain America crashes and he gets frozen.
Yeah,
And then
you get all the
found.
victory scenes.
Yeah.
Then we get Stark finding the Tesseract.
Yeah.
And starting to experiment on it. And then we get the end where he wakes up. Nick Fury's there. They try and do the whole thing where he's still in the 40s.
Yeah, I like how they did that as well.
I like that too.
Also, that's a very famous game that they were playing.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they fucked that up, though. I understand why they had to do it, so he realizes that he's, not in
Yeah,
the right
for
time or not.
super
Something's not
secret
right,
service
The 40s.
agency, whatever Shield are, they really fucked that one up. Like,
Yeah, they really. That's one thing that I kind of was a little bit jarring, kind of.
And then we know that
that's kind of the end. The bonus scene is just a teaser for the Avengers.
Yeah, the bonus
Yeah?
scene was pretty shitty. Yeah.
Okay.
But we know that eventually that Shield have the Tesseract and they get the scientist guy from Thor to come look at it, who's been influenced by Loki.
Mhm.
And we know, and I have noted this because I was trying to keep track of it. At the start, when Red Skull is getting the Tesseract, he calls it the Jewel of Odin's Treasure Room, and it's in Norway, which we know
Yeah, I
is
love
where
that.
Asgard had influence or whatever. So
Mm.
obviously they somehow came from Odin's place to Norway. I don't know. It makes more sense in it being in somewhere else. And there's also an amazing Indiana Jones reference in this scene. Did you get that?
Oh,
Yes, where he's opened the thing and he says, what does he say?
Hitler is off digging for jewels in the
For
desert.
trinkets. Was it for trinkets?
For
Yeah,
trinkets in the desert, which is Indiana Jones reference. And I fucking
Raiders of the Lost
loved
Ark.
it. That's the best reference, I think, in any of the Marvel movies for me. I thought that was so clever. Hugo Weaving was phenomenal.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
So good.
I love the fact that he played a character called Smith.
Schmidt, yeah.
Yeah, I like that as well.
Schmidt and then Agent Smith. I actually didn't
But
even
he
cop
made
that. That's
such
great.
kind of that character could have been ridiculous, the Red Skull,
Mhm.
but he
Yeah.
made him amazing.
Yeah.
He made him great.
Real
Red Skull is great in
sinister.
the comics as well.
Here's a bit of trivia for you guys. Hugo Weaving was born in Nigeria. What? Who knew?
Crazy.
That's actually pretty
You
interesting.
can't at the end of your trivia. You can't then deliver the shocking. It just comes across as sad.
We also have that scene where you see the Hydra logo and then the blood drops on the head of the Hydra logo. Which
Red
is,
Skull
Red
foreshadowing.
and when he's finds the Tesseract, the inscription on the wall is the big tree, Yggdrasil, which is mentioned in Thor as well, right?
Yeah.
It's connecting the 9
He
realms.
talks about it briefly as well.
Yeah.
He says a couple of lines on it.
Actually, very well done. It ties them all so well together. And then, of course, Howard Stark is Tony Stark's dad. So this movie really takes some kind of through lines and pulls them together in a similar way to how Iron Man 2 had that scene where they're finding the hammer, like not the end credit scene, but when Agent Coulson's like, I need to go to New Mexico.
Yeah.
And then he's in New Mexico and Thor. They did such a good job of just melding all of these together and getting me so hyped to watch Avengers again.
The forethought that's gone into it, they must have laid the groundwork for most of, if not all, of Phase 1.
I think
do all these
it's evident
connections.
that for Iron Man 1 and Incredible Hulk, they didn't.
Yeah,
And then they
saw
sat
it.
down and planned the next 4 movies in one chunk. Like,
Because there's, throughout this film, the pacing is sometimes a little jarring, but you get past that because the action sequences are just, some of them are so over the top, like he's fucking jumping through flaming explosions and stuff like that. And then you've got really nice character-driven moments between, like, the relationship between him and Peggy. It's just, it kind of brings you back down on a completely different level. But I thought, and thinking back on other films by Marvel so far, is that their golden nugget, if you like, are the character arcs and the character stories. It's all character driven. Like, there's no notable music. The action sequences are just dull or atypical, just
CGI fest.
Like, you've got the Incredible Hulk, you've got the Iron Man fight, then you've almost got another Iron Man fight. It's just, that's the predictability of what they have to satisfy for the comic book superhero style. So they've only got the characters to work with, and I think they're doing a brilliant job.
They're all so good. Like, all of those actors, like, own those roles now.
Yeah, it's so well cast as well. So far, there hasn't been somebody poorly cast, and
I'll
they've
just go
gone
through
to
them
town
quickly, like,
with
you know,
supporting
like,
cast.
the only one I don't like is Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye.
But he doesn't have standalone.
He's not my fucking.
And I don't think he's
He's not
bad.
Clint Barton to me. But
I
he's
don't
not
think he's
Clint Barton.
bad. Just look at everybody else around him. Everybody else is so good.
But like
He
Paul
just-
Rudd, Tom Holloway, just like they're all just so good. So this is the first time we see the Infinity Stone. So along with tracking Stan Lee, let's track the Infinity Stones. So this is the Space Stone.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll see another one in Avengers in addition to the Space Stone. But that's the first one we've seen. And it's cool how there's that scene where it like pushes, like, you know, projects the image of the universe and stuff.
Yeah, when the Red Skull
is
dying, getting sucked into space.
I think
There
he's
was some
becoming.
ambiguity.
I think he's becoming one of the universe, like a cosmic thing. I'd love to see him come back because he is like the ultimate Captain America villain. There's one really cool comic book arc where he like gets all this like red poisonous gas and he spreads it across America and people's skins like melting off and stuff. And you don't know who it is for ages, and you find out it's the Red Skull, and he's like survived since World War II somehow. And he has the Tesseract again, but it's awesome. It's really cool.
So, guys, I have only one thing to say about this film. Does anyone else think that it would have been A, more interesting, and B, more realistic if when Cap gets, you know, revived in modern day, he just had like kind of outmoded views, like he was just casually a bit racist every now and then.
So first question is like, why is a black guy in command when Samuel L. Jackson comes in?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Well, that's a nice way to end it.
Just one last bit of trivia, seeing as we're going to skip onto the trivia piece. Joe Johnson, the director, he was one of the sequence designers in Howard the Duck.
Huh.
Oh.
Did you know that?
Who is now a canon character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah. And he also did. He was director of Rocketeer as well. And if you look at the visual style of that, even though that was like 1991-ish, I did look it up. I can just remember that the visual style is almost the same with that artificial kind of sunlight effect, especially in the period piece of this film. Just looks like that. It doesn't get in the way of anything because once he starts throwing that shield around, you just forget.
Yeah.
But it's definitely Joe Johnson's style from that film. Yeah, that was an interesting link.
And then the last Tommy Lee Jones line where he's like, your man is screaming, cut one head off, and he shoots him and he's like, better find two more.
Yeah.
Oh, he had so many good lines.
I think considering the weight of this film, they did very good. They did very well. Even though it didn't do very well in the box, looking back at it, it was a really good film.
I really enjoyed it, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, thanks so much for tuning in to the 14th episode of the Mountains of Madness podcast. Really appreciate you listening. Like and subscribe and comment and hit that bell notification thing and all of those other check marks that I need to make sure I make before we close out the podcast. Love you all, and good night.
Bye.
Bye.